I've seen you posting all over Instagram ice vending machines. And when I first saw this, I was like, man, I used to think that the two scams in the world were selling water and then selling air. And those two things would possibly not ever become a real business. And then the big brain somewhere came up with selling frozen water in a bag is in these ice vending machines. So explain what's going on here and how these businesses work.
Yeah, it's wild. Well, we're actually doing a deal right now with one of the companies. It's called Ice House of America. And of course, you could guess who owns them, which is private equity firms, because they always know where the zeros are. But essentially what this is I was driving around Austin, Texas, and we have this one main street. And I'm sure you guys have seen it too, but like gas station, convenience store, whatever. And right next to it was this little house. And in the house, there was a line this day of people waiting to get a bag of ice that slides out the chute, and they put it in their ice chest and off they go. And I was like, wait a second, no employees, nobody around, like no, hard assets besides this tiny little thing. What I imagine was a couple $100 lease. What is this business and is it profitable? And so I went down my little rabbit hole and realized there's this whole industry called ice vending, and there are thousands of these all over the country. And they're kind of these little passive-ish businesses similar to a car wash or a laundromat, where essentially you set up the infrastructure and then people pay you for common services. And what's wild is the margins on these things. I mean, a bag of ice in Austin, Texas is pre-inflation. So who knows now, Biden numbers are different, but let's call it, 75 cents typically. Now the price is closer to $1.50, $1.75. And you get, your bag costs you anywhere from 15 to 25 cents. And so you make the margin or the difference between the two. And I love these little boring business nobody thinks about, super easy to run, high margin, low people businesses.
So pretty much all you have to do is you have to hook up the water, and then it's freezing it inside of the machine and making the ice. And really the only other material is electricity and then the bags themselves. And like if you have those three things, then you're in business with one of these machines.
That's exactly right. You need the land, you need the machine, you need some bags that are inside of it, and you need a water hookup and electricity hookup. And then you want to be like on a street corner that has about 10,000 cars a day. That's pretty easy to check. Any realtor will be able to tell you what the car count is typically. So you need some foot traffic, or to be located by like a school or lots of construction sites or a lake, national parks. But that's kind of all you need for this sort of business. And then it's relatively cheap to start, anywhere from, let's call it 25 to 150K for the machine. And then, like I said, you could lease the land, but the machines you get equipment loans on. So those start at a couple $100 a month for you to kind of get rolling. And the break even looks like you start breaking even. Well, you start making money month one if you do your due diligence right, obviously, and pick the right location. And then it looks like the break even on these things is anywhere from 3 to 6 years, which is really low for real estate.
So when you think about this, ATMs is a business that we've spent a lot of time looking at. We actually have a Bitcoin ATM sitting in here right now. When we think about those, they're paying the gas station or location to put it in their store, and that's why the store allows them to put it there. And then they just are taking their fee. Are these ice vending machines, are they paying to place their unit, or are they just paying some sort of like lease, or like how does this work exactly to the way that they get it in the location?
Usually a lease. So very cheap, because you only need one segment of the parking lot. Let's call it like a parking space and a half, so that people can kind of turn around. So they're leasing, and the leases are pretty cheap. Like I said, I mean, it depends on the city, so wide variability, but let's call it $200 to $500 a month. You could have a lease on something like that. I'd probably go on the lower end there, but you're exactly right. Now, the reason I like ice vending, I've done a decent amount of looking at ATM machines. You guys are the crypto kings, so I'm not going to mess with you there, but, the ATM machine model I don't love, because the margins are actually so tiny, and cash is increasingly not as utilized. So Bitcoin, I think, is interesting. But any of the people that have reached out to us, we own some laundromats. They've reached out to put Bitcoin ATMs in the laundromats, and they pay us a flat fee, because my understanding is you can't take a cut on Bitcoin transactions without some sort of licensing. So yeah, that's the difference between the two.
Hey, you, did you like this video? Great. We make 5 of them a day and post them here on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, like the video, and see you next time.